Good morning, everyone. It's Rifgal. We are continuing our Final Fantasy IV Pre-Enterprise Randomizer practices. We're going to be doing a bunch of these until the upcoming race I've got. So, let's take a quick look at the objectives and the flags for this one. Boss of the Waterfall, that's an easy one. Antland Nest, that's an easy one. Bosses at the Barren Inn, that's a pretty easy one. Looks like we've got a lot of just surface level stuff. Surface level meaning literally stuff that's in the surface or on the surface area of the game, first area. So not underworld or moon. We've got Vanilla Marasame Altar. That one's the one that's going to be the most out of the way, it looks like. Sand Ruby, also on the overworld. Twin Harp, overworld, but Sand Ruby and Twin Harp require items. The first three are literally just always available. And then we've got Sealed Cave and Legend Sword. We have to do 4 out of these, or 6 out of the 8, rather. So, I think, the short version is half of our 6 are freebies. And then after that, it's whatever comes up first for the key items. Key items can be on main plus summon quests and on the moon. No Yang, no Usoya. We can get an edge but not start with them. T Pro, S Pro. Pretty straightforward from there. Sid start. Let's see what we get. That's a pretty solid start. Sid Porum. Hook. Okay. So, Sid Porum Hook. We are going to... Yeah, I think we're gonna take this opportunity and go straight down to the hook, route. So, Damsian. We'll loot Damsian still, because why not? Aegis Shield is decent. So the reason I'm thinking about this is twofold. It gives us some additional looting in the Hook Route Cave early. We will have to skip the monsters. It also, more importantly, gives us a character early. And I feel like that's the more valuable one. Getting that extra character early is going to give us a lot of flexibility as we can move forward. Assuming that it's not, a character that doesn't do anything. But honestly, even just having an extra body early game can make a big difference. If all that person does is chuck a couple life potions or cures, that's great. That's honestly perfect. You don't want to get that late, or that trap chest late. This means that we can now fully loot the entire rest of this without having to worry. Tier 2 Samurai Gloves. Sid's going to be very well protected, and he comes in at a higher level and with a lot more hit points than a lot of characters, so I think we're going to be in good shape with that. If we can get something to actually do damage as well, that'd be great. I'm kind of hoping that we find another beefy character. Honestly, from what I've seen so far, we got a Blizzard Spear, so getting a cane would be a great thing here. Cecil's always great to get. Obviously, getting him before Ordeals is less than ideal. Rydia. Yeah, I said or characters that are not going to do anything for a while. We do have a Sylph summon, so if we can get her up to the MP to use it, that'll be good. We don't have the glitch enabled on Sylph, but one cast of Sylph can make a huge difference. It also helps with early game healing. Pretty strong spell. I believe it's about as powerful as like Virus, if I'm remembering correctly. And it heals your party and bypasses Reflect, so that makes it very good against certain bosses. So the big downside with where we're at right now is we only have one equipment-based character, and they're not good at doing a lot of damage. The other characters, unless we get something like a heroine robe, which we're not going to get this early unless we do some trap chests, I don't... like, that could be problematic. I'm really hoping that we can get... There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's actually do some organizing here quick. Sort. Sylph. Aegis. Diamond. Dragoon. Samurai. I don't think I saw anything here. Okay, there's a Gaia helm. Yeah, the rest is pretty much junk. Another 15,000. I think we can get there. This is really annoying. We're like 500 short. I'm gonna regret this. There's our source of damage. Awesome. So Ogre Axe isn't the strongest axe just by damage numbers. However, it has the highest accuracy and it's one-handed. So it's my personal preference on Sid. Intro? If this is now a cane, I'm going to be slightly mad at myself for being impatient, but it does save time. It's a Cecil, that's fine. And Octomom is perfectly fine. Every time Octomom loses a tentacle, it gets slower. So getting several hits in early just to get those tentacles to go away is really important. And you can see there Sid is definitely carrying on damage. I don't have the exit spell, so I'm not going to loot the back of Hobbs. I also don't have a lot of equipment that I particularly need right now. Like, there's other good stuff we could get, but I don't feel like it's... I'm going to do back of Waterfall, but I'm not going to do back of Hobbs, just because it's time. That's maybe problematic. I didn't save. Vampire, that's fine. That's annoying. That's the character we don't want them on. That's fine. That is technically fine. I think we're dead. Okay. I didn't save before we got Cecil. You know what? We'll come back. We know what it is. Let's just do Antlion. Move on. Cecil's not going to be contributing that much and doesn't need levels. I think that's actually the bigger piece, is he doesn't actually need XP right now. He resets to level 1 after we do ordeals anyway. Let's focus on this, do ordeals. There's Crystal Helm, awesome. We know we're getting a Cecil, so we don't sell that Crystal Helm that we just picked up. And if we come back and do and re-get Cecil later, we'll be doing more damage, we'll be more efficient at dealing with it. This is a very good spot to find this boss. Legend Sword. And Antlion Nest is complete. One objective down. Second objective, we have to beat Wyvern. Honestly, what we really need there is either a little bit more damage or a little bit more speed. Even a fifth character would go a long way. Glad we stopped for that. Holy crap. Black Belt is by far the best armor that we can get. It gives a nice strength boost, which is going to cause more attacks to go through. Lower defense, but better in every other regard. And honestly, the other regards are more important. Just to briefly show, so you can see there it says attack 4 times 91. So when you hit certain thresholds with your strength score, that multiplier will get added in, or will go up rather. So by boosting our strength by 5, there's a pretty good chance that multiplier went from 3 to 4. We literally are doing another multiplier of that 91. So we're doing like 27 or 270, and now we're doing 360, whatever that math is. Honestly, getting these lunar sparkles out of the way is also good. A lot of these bosses are problematic later in the game. That is really frustrating. Poison axes are actually a really good source of cash. Keep noticing one more item. pop our head into the item shop as well. Nope. Okay. Lilith Rod, that'll be good for Rydia, get her some more black magic. There's a free Ogre Axe after I spent all of my money on one. Diamond Band. Whoops. Got a little too greedy. Was hoping we could just finish him off. Okay, I do not have back row glitch on Sid. So I do need to just punch the ball knob first, or we're going to be going very slowly through this. However, actually, let's go in drip. Luke will operate him directly. Second half of the fight. Okay, Sylph should either finish this off or almost finish it off. We do get a free heal once we go in the door. Before we fight the boss. And after we fight the boss, for that matter. I just realized that I have already had a couple opportunities now where I thought about where saving has been a factor. And I literally have had that problem on the last 2 runs that I've done. I think one Indra should do it. Package is not a great option for us. We'll have to see what character we get from the... We'll have to see what character we get for Baron Inn. Right now, a Cecil will be good, but we don't actually have the equipment that makes Cecil really broken yet. We will have a Crystal Helm, which will go a long way just to keeping him alive. Oh, I guess we do have a second Ogre Axe. So, Ogre Axes will... That'll work, that'll work. We've already done Kenazo, who's the reason that these Thor Rages are hanging out. So this is a quick way to clear some space in our inventory, as well as just dish out some damage against a boss that is pretty obnoxious sometimes. Corum just learned Berserk, which is huge. Ogre. Crystal. Dragoon. What was I gonna do? Oh! Back row glitch. Both of our melee fighters are good to be in the back row now. Let's head to Baron Inn. See who our 5th character is. Edward. Vivalis is annoying. Vivalis has a high evasion chance, but she should still be hittable. Hold on. Several things we just need to come back to, I guess. I'm feeling very confused, though. Like, Vivalis' evasion gets really weird, but that still feels off. What do I do then? I mean, I guess let's see if we can take out Bahamut? Or Wyvern, rather? Okay. I have a weird thought. I might have waited too long for it though. I did. Okay. Still not quite in a good spot for that. I'm gonna try one more time on it, just because I do have a thought on a way to cheese it. There we go. I am so mad at the purchased ogre axe as we continue. So one thing to note is Cecil does get a little bit worse on the settings we're using. With T Pro, so yeah, with T Pro, the only place we're going to find Excaliburs and Crystal Swords is like trap chests after we get the Darkness Crystal, so Giant and Moon. Now, that being said, there is usually still a pretty good chance of getting some decent loot out of these chests. So we are going to do a few trap chests here. I don't know what I'm expecting to find, but in my mind, the way I'm thinking through it right now, I feel like we need to. We're just gonna full loot this place. Again, Felvalis is just bothering me. This is always the most annoying fight out of the 3 trap chests here. Especially when you've got ogre axes. Bluster's gonna one-shot Forum. I'm hoping we can still get her back up here before the fight ends. We're mostly doing this for XP, not loot. We'll take some loot, though. Ribbon is pretty solid. Another coffin. Nice. Oops. Second coffin. It's like, what was the other thing I was gonna do? Odin. That was the other thing I was gonna do. Tiara. Okay. So Tiara is a +10 to magic. So many ogre axes. I mean, the good news is, we know they sell well. Dragoon Shield will be good for Cecil. In fact, I'm going to do that real quick here. Add ogres. I'm gonna try and get some life glitches off, even though it's a little bit annoying. Too late, I forgot. Exit. Murasame. I mean, I'm not going to complain about getting a Murasame. If I get an edge, that'll be great. If I don't, that will not be great. I'm going to leave Rydia at 1 HP. Because these monsters should all be using physical attacks. Which means Cecil should cover. This should just finish off the skeletons. Man, at this point, if an edge doesn't show up, I'm gonna be grumpy. It's another piece of crystal gear for Cecil, so again, very well protected Cecil. I think we're gonna take another shot at Valvalis here. I can't remember how her mechanics work once again. So I want to make sure that I'm not missing something. If it just goes kablooey again, we're skipping it and just going straight down the hook route. We'll come back. I think we are guaranteed to find every character. That's why I was thinking we had a diamond band. Accuracy is partially based on level, so just getting a slightly higher level boosts us here just enough. There we go. Low hit point spot, thank God. That's slightly obnoxious, but should be good. Should be doable. This is a boss that does a lot of physical attacks, so I'm pretty okay with relying on Cecil for defense. But I do think we just need to go for the damage race. So I am gonna double Berserk. We've got Sylph for healing, plus Cure 2. There we go. Which reports us with Edward! What? Okay. Huh. I already checked that. I just want to see what my other character option is, so I am going to go ahead to the moon, even though it's going to be a little slow. Because if we get something like an edge here, that's going to absolutely change things. There's a small part of me after my comment about the Excalibur and Crystal Sword that kind of wants to just go straight into the giant, but that's the giant cutscene. That doesn't feel worth it for just checking one trap treasure chest. The reason I would do that one over the other is because it is safer by a pretty large margin. I will check the Hummingway shop, though. That feels reasonable. Rose is much preferable to Edward. Honestly, not really what the team needs, but I mean, she's gonna be... Honestly, if I get another character, I will probably replace Porum as well. Not great for the Hummingway shop. I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed that we could get our hands on either some, like some Bacchus wines or some Sirens, especially since I accidentally, sold one. But, oh well. Yeah, we don't have a way to do a D-Machine grind with this party. We don't have a good way to do a whole lot. So I think it's basically... It's time to do the hook route. And honestly, it might be fine. I don't know what the bosses are going to be. I think we've got a pretty solid party. We've already cleared the whole first section, so we don't even need to do the trap chest. Probably do the second trap chest still. Mostly because I want to get Rosa some levels. And we should be able to life glitch that as well. So there may be another way underground, but since it requires beating, one of the moon bosses to do, it's probably not worth trying. So hook route it is. We're still already three requirements down. A little bit low level for this, I feel like. I could be wrong. And I missed the treasure chest, unless it's here. I did. I don't want to go all the way back, so we'll... Okay, we got lucky. Honestly, that works out really well. Because I was going to use an hourglass on the Oh, wait, no, do we have a coffin? Even better. The guards will attack themselves at this point. Awesome. This is a very scary boss, but I think in this location with this party we'll be okay. Or not in this location, rather, but just with this party. Because Cecil, Paladin Cecil, after he's done 2 kicks, you can trigger the ouch script. Unfortunate that we didn't get those levels, but I'll take it for the sake of safety. He was hitting pretty hard, and it's unfortunate that he hit Rosa, but that's fine. Golbez is at top of tower. There's our hook route. Okay, so what do we have? Where do we go next? Do we do? I think. I mean, I feel like it's always check your freebies is a good starting point here. I'm not gonna loot. I don't want to try and loot around the treasures here. I feel like our equipment is okay right now, and I don't want to mess with it. We'll check the shop when we get down to this, or to the village, and we can check some of the freebies, but at this point I want to keep moving. Let's check who these bosses are quick. And honestly, if it's something I can use an hourglass on, I might actually save and go do it. It is not. Holy crap. Okay, that is both, or that is 2 of the 3 remaining lunar sparkles. Ready to pale them wyvern, so those are either Ogopogo, Plague, or D-Lunars. Honestly, that means that they are not in a required location, most likely. Some spring cleaning here. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna use Earth. Firebomb. But I will go ahead and pick up a copy of Ashura. It just gives some additional utility to Rydia. Job Dwarf. Hotel desk clerk. Heroine robe, bit late. I feel like Dwarf Castle's the next obvious one. So let's go Dwarf Castle. I will say currently, one of the other things that we're going to need to figure out is how we're grinding. We have a very mediocre team in terms of getting XP quickly. So unless we end up needing to do... Oh, awesome. Unless we end up needing to do a full clear on the moon or something, which is very unlikely with these flag sets. Like we need either Luca Key, Twin Harp, Adamant, Sand Ruby. We need 3 of those out of 4. So actually now that I've said it out loud, that does feel like it's a little bit more possible that we could end up with that problem. Mute prevents their counter spells. A little bit of slowdown from the Sylph animation. Worth a shot. Forgot about the fact that those guys are mage enemies, so they take double damage from the rune axe. Whoops. That would have been helpful. Let's see who our second boss here is. Sure. Okay. Pain. Does Porum have wall? No. This is a relatively low hit point spot, but I think we do still need to be careful. That was a mistake. I was overthinking that. I do that occasionally. We got there. With Rydia and no good way to level, I feel like going for a Berserker party is stronger. 2 White Mages and 3 Berserkers is great. And that does mean that we're going to be very reliant on whatever we get out of the Supersmith shop. We need to get some good gear, some good endgame gear. But with Supersmith in play, we've got decent options for several of our characters. I forgot about the Warp Glitch. We should have kept Rydia in for this fight, because now we can't Warp Glitch. Well, we've got the tower key. Dragoon, Gugnir. Dragoon. Actually, real quick here. Corfax. We technically still have one freebie, but chasing down Sheila is a really long check for potentially nothing. I think we still have enough left that it wouldn't matter when we did the... Like if we did the tower on the way up, or the boss on the way up or the way down. But we'll just go ahead and go all the way to the top. Do this boss quick first. This should be Golbez. And while Golbez is a long annoying fight, as long as we can get some Star Veils up, we'll be fine. Which I think we're running a little low on Star Veils, if I'm remembering right, too. But we don't need that many more. He's gonna kill all but 2 party members. However, we've got a ribbon on one character, and Cecil has 2 pieces of crystal here. I think both of those negate instant death. So there's a chance that I think Purim and Cecil survive Shadow. It may be more of an either-or thing. Okay. Either way, that gives us 3 characters. Which should be fine. Oh. We're okay. This spot does have pretty high hit points. Cecil's ran out. That's actually kind of a twofold thing here in that we can now heal him. she slams a wall up. Whoops. A little tighter than I was expecting, just because his magic power is so low that he's not hurting himself much. Crap. I guess we're going Sid first because he has the most hit points. Still not working great. That was worthless. That was a long fight that was worthless. Love it. I should actually save. This is a great spot for CPU because it will be a very short fight. My hope for this item, which we're not going to figure out what it is until we get to the bottom. My hope for this item would be that it is the... What's up? My brain is mush. The pan. That's gonna give us 3 checks if it is. Another good one would be Twin Harp, just because it's a requirement as well as giving us progression. Technically, Sealed Cave falls under that category as well. I don't necessarily want that to be the case, because that would mean we'd actually need to do the cave instead of just unlocking it. And I forgot my warp glitch. Adamant, we'll take it. It's a requirement, it's a key item, and it opens the best shop in the game. And we get the best, we get an awesome weapon. I don't know what the awesome weapon will be yet. Because it is based, or it is Supersmith. I'm going to hope that it is something that is usable by Kane or Cecil. It's not. What does the Sasuke dagger actually do? $95, $99 agility vitality. That's actually really good if we can actually find an edge. And honestly, this is actually a situation where I might actually seek out an edge, as opposed to just like taking whatever characters. I may do extra character, or I may do some extra checks to make sure we get an edge, because he will be a huge improvement on this party, especially with that find. So that leaves us with him. We've got some weird checks here. So everything we have left is bosses. But except for Sheila, which, if it's vanilla pan, I will even forgive that. I may actually go check the package character. Like I said, I do think with where we're at right now with this party, what we need is a little bit more XP. We could probably take Plague at one of those spots, but D-Lunars and Ogopogo are going to be brutal fights at the King Queen spots. And I feel like we're a little too low to start doing moon checks. We could probably, depending on what the fights are. But there's really no guarantee on what we're going to get when we actually get to those spots. Well, there's our answer. As much as I hate it. Today you get to see one of the worst ways to grind in this game. It'll work though. That's what's important. Let's see. We're gonna do some shopping quick because we're low on star veils. There's a few other things I need, and I need to remember where I got life potions. Which we haven't been to that many places. I haven't been checking though. That'll work. Especially for what we're about ready to do. Which... ribbon... yeah, that'll work. Actually, I'm gonna do one more check quick first. And this is only because it'll save me time. I suppose the other good news is this gives us a character. Or not a character, this gives us an objective. Actually, we don't need to actually complete this, do we? We just need to grind and go. Yeah. Because this is... so this is a check. Or that's an objective. And then if we do the moon bosses, we are done. So we're just going to use this as our grind. Which, once again, if you are not familiar with this, buckle up. That shouldn't work. Nope, it must be on the armlet. Or the gauntlet, rather. So just to be clear, the reason I'm still doing this, even after realizing that I didn't need to get the objective, is because we need levels desperately before we actually beat the game. And we need levels before we actually take on the lunar bosses. So these guys are 35k apiece. They are annoying, but doable. Let's do a quick top off here. Apparently that does kill through that. Shadow Dragon failed, I thought. Oh well. Rosa got Cure 3, that's the important part there. I made the wrong assumption. Apparently that was not Cecil that survived at the Shadow Dragon. It was Porum. I thought Crystal... I know Crystal Armor protects against. I assumed that Crystal Helmet and Armlet Gauntlet did too. It does not. Actually, I think the Crystal Gauntlet does, or Armlet does, but the Crystal Gauntlet does not. Cecil keeps being dead, which is not ideal. But if he does end up 5 levels behind, we can take advantage of that at least. But I'm not gonna like aim for it right now. It's amazing how much momentum you can keep. When you don't have a bunch of dead characters. Oops. There we go. I believe Blaze's percentage-based damage. So we should be fine as long as we keep healing. And honestly, I think we're gonna call this here. I'm feeling pretty solid now. We could definitely be higher level, but this feels like an okay place. More edge weapons. Screw you, game. We may as well, while we're here. I'm hoping that we don't actually need to do anymore, but it will make our leveling go faster if we actually have 10 key items. Which is honestly going to be a little harder than I thought. I think we could still check on the package character, but I feel like that ship has sailed at this point. This should be a very doable fight. Mylan Z is considered a flying enemy because he is immune to earth attacks as the Fiend of Earth. And for the way that they do that is by making him a flying enemy. So, that means he is weak to arrows, and he is weak to spears. Man. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Not this boss. The rest of the seed. We're not ready for Zeromus in terms of gear or... That's right, you have to walk out. That's why this level sucks. We're not ready for Zeromus in terms of gear or in terms of levels. Like this party with an Excalibur and a few more levels could beat Zeromus. With a Crystal Sword, definitely. Crystal Sword, all you need is Cecil and Rosa, and you're good. We need to get up to Cure 4. I'm genuinely feeling like the plan here is to I feel like the plan should just be head to the moon, because I really don't want to deal with those two sparkles on the King Queen of Monsters spots, and we don't actually need any more key items. It doesn't matter what the key items we get are. Like, ideally, we'd get two more key items so that we can get actually, just one. one more key item and the crystal will do it. And then we just have to fight. If we just fight the rest of the moon bosses, that should be reasonable. And we do have a lot of relatively approachable bosses left. But I think either way, I'm going to take a quick break here. And we will be right back. Okay, let's see what these bosses are and which is most approachable. Right now, we are lacking a good weapon for Cecil. Honestly, we don't have great weapons all around, but I mean, Rune Axe and Gungnir is okay, at least. Healed. Yeah, I'm good enough. No, this is the other fun part. I'm always terrible about remembering which altar is which. I know the Ribbon Room. Is the Murasame the last one? Crystal Sword is Wyvern, I believe. I'm being unsure here. We need to clear a bunch of these anyway. And is this doable? This is... Okay, that's actually really interesting. And I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. So this is the... This is the Fabul Gauntlet. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and real quick here. Make some changes. We're gonna go Dragoon Shield, which is going to then resist, or give Cecil the ability to resist dragons. I do feel like I still need Sid to be able to do damage. So we're gonna switch this over to Rune Axe. That's our agility sitting at 16, okay. And we're ditching the heroine robe. It makes her a lot better against physical attacks, but it also makes her a lot weaker overall as a healer. We're gonna change rows. We want Cecil in the back row. I think we want Sid in the front row, and I actually want... Yes, I think that's where we want it. So that's going to give Cecil the ability to protect everyone when they're at low health. We actually want everyone but Cecil at low health so that he protects. Except for that doesn't work against Blaze, does it? Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. What's the worst that could happen? If we need to go do this one later, this is honestly going to be a fairly challenging sequence. I think this is technically White Spear. This is only the first of several fights, so this is going to be, I'm hoping, Ginryos are pretty up there. The other nice thing with this is this will give us a bunch of XP. Warlock. That's really obnoxious. Should have been attacking the back row here. Warlocks are mage enemies, so they are weak to... I think these count as undead? Yep. I was just gonna say, I think these guys have a AoE. Yeah, okay, we're gonna hold off on that. We need a little bit more juice before we can deal with them. I think we do still leave our party as it is. I'm gonna go down. That'll actually work out better in the long run, most likely, because we will have our 10th, hopefully have our 10th key item before we end up needing to do that, and that'll be a potentially good Okay, that's actually what I wanted. We'll see how this goes. The answer is poorly. It's gonna go poorly. I think we just pray that Cecil can get through this. Is it the best plan? Probably not. Will it work? Hopefully? Like, literally, they're doing 1 damage to Cecil, so... Okay, the race is on, I guess. Just Cecil. We definitely need the XP for everybody, which is sad. But if we get a good item here, it could be worth it. And if we don't, if we die, or get a bad item, then we just reset out, and it's fine. Please, please, just kill this thing. I really don't like the position we're in here. I kind of am regretting my decision to go with with the strategy I went with instead of looking for edge. Although we still need to do, I mean, we still have a bunch of stuff to do. Like, we still need to get, I mean, it's basically just Murasame Altar and levels, but our party's not well equipped for this. And the fact that I can't deal with with enemies in general is a problem. We have just mages. I don't suppose I kept any other... Nope. I got rid of all my other stuff. The fact that we don't have any anti-dragon gear is a problem. Let's just head right down to the bosses, I guess. Honestly, if we get a lucky boss on one of these, we can just use that. I'm not even sure what enemies on the moon we could take out besides like the warlocks. We're very well equipped for warlocks. But I don't think there's any chests that are guarded by warlocks. I don't know the moon trap chests well enough. That's definitely not it. I think it might be this one. Or the final one. This should be doable. That works out really well until it explodes. Okay, 10,000 more damage. Before it pops, and we're good. I mean, that works. Okay, just a moment here. Unfortunately, it looks like my first reaction was correct. It does look like... it does look like the... Really? I don't even have another... Well, okay. It does look like we're gonna need to go through that, the alt gauntlet. I was just checking what the bosses were for my own sanity. And so the plague spot that we just did, I guess let's just go ahead and finish these off for the XP and the treasure. Oh, almost vanilla plague. This is a pretty high hit point spot. I don't have wall. And I'm out of star veils. Okay. Why aren't you casting count again? There we go. Making me nervous. That's unfortunate. We might be in trouble here. But it should be getting close to dead, too. I think. This is a really high hit point spot, though. Do I have a way to get past this? It works. We'll take it. Unfortunately, Cecil was down for that, but again, I think we're okay on XP. Earth Crystal in the pan. That puts us up to 10 key items. Which gives us double XP on the next fights. I still don't know if we can take out... We really need, like, Artemis arrows or something for the Ginryu. Or like a... Man, do we want to go... I'm still being indecisive about everything right now, which is not helpful. I think one of the big things that in general with this is commit. And maybe that's not Right. I'm gonna see what this boss is. Demist. We can't do that with the Avenger on. You know what? I'm actually going to... I'm just said commit. I'm actually going to revert, which I don't love. But right now, part of my problem is, so first of all, lunar subterranean enemies are really scary. They're really powerful, and we don't have the tools to deal with them, or the levels to just overpower them. So that alt gauntlet is going to be rough. The second thing is our equipment sucks. And some of our characters suck. So I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox here. And part of the reasoning I'm thinking this is we do have a few easy quests left. We've got the Troya Treasury available now, which is one of the few places that has a chance at having the really good equipment we need. And we do still have some options to get a different character. And as much as it feels annoying right now to be looking at that, there's a Zeus Gauntlet that makes a difference. Hourglass. Defense Sword. Second Avenger. Awesome. I think that will make a huge difference right there. As odd as it seems, I think that will make the difference. Do I want to just real quick knock out the Earth Crystal to see if I can skip having to do it? Yes. I think that's going to be much faster. I'm going to go Defense Sword here. Gungnir. The reason I'm running through this quick is because with the equipment we have, I do still think having an edge would go a long way. Just because of the Sasuke. No other reason. The other thing is if we get the Sand Ruby or the Twin Harp, we don't have to do the Murasame altar, and if we get the pass, we don't have to do that either. We don't have to walk back through. And I think that could actually be faster at this point. We also will have the pan to do those checks if we want. We are high enough that I'm not concerned about whoever is here. Dark Knight Cecil. Maybe I should be, but that should be fine. We're fine. I still have the battle speed down from one of the earlier fights. I just realized. We're getting double XP now. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do something quick. Battle speed. Second cane. I don't think a second cane is better than our Sid, because we can just anchor with Sid if we need to. I suppose you could technically anchor with a underleveled cane as well. Second Sid, definitely no. Okay, that's fine. The two freebie bosses. Sand Ruby, perfect. So, with the Sand Ruby, that'll give us 6 objectives. We don't have to do the vanilla Murasame altar. We just need to get in shape to beat Z. And in the process of that, I'm also gonna just do a quick run through. See if this is edge. It's not. Oh, we do need to actually use it, I suppose. That is how objectives work. There's our crystal. So, interestingly, we have auto berserk on 2 characters now that can't be dispelled. Dispel them, yes. Which means our healers can be focused on healing. We have our Sid, who is a good agility anchor and a dwarf axe for him. We've got our 2 healers are, I think, both have Cure 4 now. No, Porum does not have Cure 4 yet. Rosa does. And Rosa's getting close on a HP where she can be viable. So we do need a little bit more experience. Where am I going? Man. So the pan's going to give us 2 checks here. At this point, I'm just checking quick for the pass. And then we're going to need to get a little bit more experience We're getting doubles now, so that's a little bit more approachable. I still wish we had something like sirens, but it's what it is. Honestly, not sure if this is the right call, just because going back to the moon is probably going to be better from a grinding perspective. Wow. Okay. That was the gold apple. Gold apples give HP. Raise your base HP. My problem right now is that Rosa doesn't have enough HP. That cuts down our leveling significantly. I would like to have Porum. Since we don't have a crystal sword, we are actually going to need to be able to deal with multiple big bangs. And so having Porum functional feels like it'd be good. That was worthless. Okay. So we don't have the pass, we have to go back to the moon. Or chase rabbit holes, which I don't think is worth doing right now. Actually, no, we don't have another rabbit hole to chase. It's either fight bosses on Earth or on the moon. He's got Dragoon armor. We'll do this for now. I know where that red dragon fight is. I'm gonna hope that that pushes me over and / or that I get a crystal sword out of it. Trap chest. The moon areas are the best chance we have of getting a trap chest. So, or of getting a crystal sword or an Excalibur. We don't want to start with both of those equipped. So the way Avenger works, when you switch it out, you keep the attack power of the weapon you had equipped previously. And the reason that's important is this is not the right way. Wait, is it? Yeah. I think this is the right way. Red dragons, red dragons. I don't think these work. That also didn't work. Where did my Avengers run off to? Come on. There we go. Cecil helps keep them up with Protect. Obviously doesn't help against Heat Ray, but it helps just in the meantime. And Defense Sword is actually a good weapon. He was using an Ogre Axe before, which is a good mid-game weapon, early-game weapon. Kane's got the Avenger. Sid's not doing much here, but that's okay. Should probably Berserk Sid. Now that I've got a chance here. All of the melee characters have Dragoon gear, which makes them stronger against dragons, so they're taking less damage than they otherwise would. One dragon down. Perfect. 200,000 XP. There's Cure 4. There's our levels. Third Avenger. Kind of regretting the Kane decision now. We need to go deeper anyway. I think we go all the way down. And open a few things on the bottom level at this point. Or possibly try and do the fight down there. But honestly, we're probably good. If we get one more fight that works out, that'll give us another shot at a good weapon. And get Porum up to the point where we could use a gold apple on her and make her usable. Currently, Porum's HP is low enough that she's still not gonna survive. She'll probably survive one Big Bang, but she can't survive an unnerfed Big Bang, which is the problem. And we're not going to be able to nerf every single one, and we don't have enough power to press through, I don't think. So I'm gonna go up here real quick. So there's a chest. Perfect. Perfect. Just what I wanted. We do need to keep our hit points up a bit more because this guy uses, which actually, you know what? With that in mind, I don't think we want to count on Cecil protecting. So we're gonna just try and spam heal with our 2 characters and have full berserk. That went much better. Another 3 levels. Yeah, let's do this. Still not amazing HP, but it's maybe enough. She's up to 25 agility, 21. And honestly, that's +5 agility. I think the agility is the important part here. Ribbon. I did not end up keeping the silence staff, because that was one of the earlier ones that I did. That's unfortunate. I guess we just equip here, just in case. We start on Gungnir. Bandana. Black belt. Crystal. Crystal gauntlets are still pretty solid, so I think I leave that there. I don't have another there. Go back to defense sword. We don't want a shield equipped. So actually, let's do Zeus Gauntlet here. Make him our primary attacker. That lets us go Crystal. And honestly, let's just go Protect. Makes it much more survivable. Dragoon armor, Dragoon, 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 Dragoon. And let's bump that down. That'll be 16 agility. And an Aegis shield, I believe, is better defensively. Yes. (16) agility. Pretty solid. 30, 29, 36. And I am going to do one more quick thing here, which is... Okay, we've got the crystal at the top. Let's bump that up to the top. Let's move our Avengers to the top so that we can quickly swap them out. Make sure I don't have anything else I'm missing. We don't have any silk webs, so we're gonna have to do that manually. but that'll also give us our way to trigger the that'll give us our way to trigger the counter nukes to nerf the big bangs. Now, I will say, the correct play here may have been to use the golden apple on Rosa to make her even better, rather than to try and spread it out and make both Porum and Rosa viable. Oh, that was everything I was going to do. Porum, FF4, and Rosa, Pure Force. Yep. Technically, Rosa has white if I wanted to try and get some counter whites in, or just a straight white to damage out. See who we're fighting today. No idea. Swap in 2 Avengers. Cure up. Berserk Sid, after switching the Dwarf Axe out because the agility doesn't matter after combat starts. We'll see who survives. That was a low roll. We'll take it. We also have very good magic defense from our gauntlet, or from our armlets. HP up to max again. Black Hole does not negate the Berserks on Cecil and Kane because they have it through their weapon. So we will have to recast on Sid, but that's not a huge deal because he's our backup, basically. He's just contributing a little extra damage. We're gonna get a counter nuke on Cecil, which is not gonna do much. That, I take that back, that did a lot. I'm gonna actually just burn a Cure 4 to be safe. I am going off the assumption Porum survives here, which may be inaccurate. Yep. But at this point, that's fine. Porum did her job. We've got our 2 slows down safely. We've got Berserk up on Sid. So all Rosa needs to do now is keep the healing coming. If I get to a point where I think it's viable, I could theoretically try and get another nerf in here, or try and resurrect Porum, but I don't think I'm gonna have an opportunity. I think at this point it's literally just Cure or spam. And pray Rosa doesn't die. Because if Rosa drops here, we're done. Well, no. If Rosa drops here, it's a race. Which I will say, we're not doing well on damage. Our damage sucks. So there is that. We're down to Meteo. Meteo is the last phase. So we just need to make sure that we don't get hit with like a big bang back to back with a Meteo. And we're good. Double Meteo? Okay, that's not good. I feel like he shouldn't be getting that many actions right now, but okay, but we're getting a couple back-to-back as well. Sid's actually going to bring Porum back up here for one reason. Okay, never mind. It was going to be to spread out the damage. Okay. We're going to go straight into the post-game here. This seed was rough. I'm used to having a character, or so there's two basic ways to grind. And those are using sirens or using the D-machine grind. There are other ways, but I'm much less familiar with those. And those still require the right setups. I do feel like we took a good approach here. The one thing I will say is, well, no, I think it ended up working out. Getting up to that 10 key, I wish I'd gotten up to the 10 key items first, but we did have to do that first part of the grind to be able to survive the moon bosses. Like, we would not have survived the moon bosses if we hadn't done the doors. And like, the only arguable thing was once I found those 2 key items. Well, no, because actually going back and raiding the treasury, I don't know. There were a couple mistakes. I got really excited and had this crazy notion of finding an edge. And I very briefly entertained that before putting it off, which I'm glad about. Overall, I think the biggest problem with this one was I did try a couple things multiple times rather than just accepting it and moving on. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, that moon Fabul Gauntlet would have been rough. It would have been tons of experience, but it would have been rough. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with the 245 on this one. I just absolutely, you know what? The big thing I take away from all of this is I would love to find something with slightly less Sid. I guess one thing worth noting with this, and something I've commented on before and that I think is really important, is with T Pro, which is this flag set we're on for treasure. It is really hard to get an Excalibur or a crystal sword. You cannot count on getting one like you can in T Wildish or T Wild is always a crapshoot, but T Wildish, it feels like you have a good chance of getting something. We got lucky with those Avengers. I think that's really the turning point here. If I didn't have those Avengers, I would have had to stop and recast Berserk after the black hole, and I wouldn't have been able to keep up on healing. And I think that would have been the turning point there. We would have lost. Getting those Avengers, getting that auto Berserk makes a huge difference. And I would have preferred to have a Crystal Sword Excalibur, or even an item from Kokol that was usable. Which I will say, that's one thing with a lot of this, is I found so many garbage Kokol weapons so far. Like, we got the Gigantaxe on one of them, which was okay. But, like, for the most part, they've been pretty garbage. And, or for characters we can't get or are hard to get. Like, we got the arrows, which is still pretty bad. I would really like to actually get a good one there, because that's one of the things that's just like, yeah. So, just to be clear here, there are some bad weapons. The Piggy Stick is very good. The Lightbringer is really good. If we've got Cecil, that's another Crystal Sword equivalent. The Abel's Lance is very good for Kane. Gigantaxe, Cecil, Kane, Sid. Thor's Hammer and the Fiery Hammer are both viable for Sid. Like, those are Excalibur level weapons for Sid. That's about half of them. So honestly, I should probably be less surprised. The other thing though is there are also good heal stuff. It's not amazing, but like Seraphim's Mace, Nirvana, and the Perseus bow all give 15 will. So they're as good as the silent staff that we missed. And even that would help. Now, the downside with all of this is 3 of those are only equipable, or 3 of the weapons from Advance are only equipable by Yang. Caliburn is always garbage, or Excalibur. The scrap metal is literally worthless. There's 3 weapons that can only be used by Edge, which you have a mid chance of getting, because Edge is available, but is only available in gated locations. And there's 3 weapons that are only usable by Edward, which none of which are as good as the spoon. So there's that. And honestly, let's just be fair here. Edward's weapons are not amazing. I think Loki's loot is the only one that's actually good, because it is strong against all enemy types and gives a plus 15 to all physical stats. Like, that actually puts him into competition for everything but HP with the physical characters. But yeah, no, there's a couple black casting weapons that Palom can use. There's a couple staves that Porum can use. Rosa cannot use the staves, notably. And then I don't know. I hope that when we actually get to the day that we find something more interesting in that shop. Although I suppose if we don't, that's my knowledge against Mark's on how to get those weapons, and I feel like looking into the treasure chests and stuff on where I can actually find good weapons in T-Pro might pay off for me, because that's the kind of number crunching that I like, and I don't know that Mark is gonna go as deep on that. So yeah, I suppose the other takeaway from all of this is, if you can swing it, getting a casting party together is probably better than trying to get a Berserk party. Basically, the Berserk party is a little bit more dubious than the casting party, which is not common. Or even like a hybrid might be more viable than it is in other flag sets. So yeah. We'll see. Okay, and at that, I have actually had enough analysis to talk through the entire credits for the first time in quite a while, which I think is also good, because one of the things I was thinking about earlier was the last couple I've just had some very obvious things that were wrong. This time I feel like we were able to get more into the analysis, so we're heading the right direction even if the time is higher. This was a tough scene. Hopefully you're still enjoying. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.